Hey there, folks. This is the Gauntlet Reading Club, and today we're doing character creation for our Hearts of Wulin run, inspired by Tasha Suri's The Jasmine Throne. Before starting in on kind of character creation, I wanted to do a round of introductions for folks watching. If you could give your name, your pronouns, and what playbooks you're drawn to. I'm Steven, he, him. I am not creating a character, but I'm just playing everyone else, and I look forward to seeing what we come up with here. If we go clockwise from me, we'll start on Michael and continue around clockwise.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Michael. I use he, him, or they, them as pronouns, and I'm kind of drawn to the villain or the reborn, but I've got some other options as well, but those are like my top options.
Cool. JoLene, do you want to introduce yourself and your pronouns?
I'm JoLene. She, her, my pronouns. Playbook wise, I've played Hearts of Wulin a lot, so I can work with anything. So.
Cool. And Chris?
Chris, he, him. I'm looking at either the reborn or maybe the unorthodox.
Hi, I'm Brandon, he, and I'd love to play the unorthodox, I think.
Okay. And
since Chris has expressed another choice as primary.
I can't hear you, Brandon.
Oh. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Brandon. I think Chris maybe Brandon was a little bit quiet for you.
Just quiet.
I said since Chris listed unorthodox as a second choice, I think I'd like to play unorthodox.
Yeah, and I should note that Hearts of Wulin, unlike other PBTA games, actually does let you play like share playbooks. We just kind of work with each other to make certain that there's not too much crossover in terms of the moves you pick, to help keep your characters differentiated. But yeah, so this game is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community mostly focusing on role-playing games of the indie and OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role-playing games. And of course, it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non-members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you are interested in playing with any of the folks here tonight or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. We are all here to have fun, and if something happens in real life or you become uncomfortable at the table, feel free to step away as long as you need. No one will hold it against you, and you are free to return whenever you feel ready. If you're able to let the group know if and when you expect to return, that would be helpful for the rest of us in terms of framing scenes, but we understand that sometimes emergencies happen and it's not always possible. Besides the open door, we are also making use of a couple other safety tools that I'm not going to get into too much detail about, as we kind of likely have encountered them before. But first is the X card. The X card is a tool that if you encounter something in the fiction that comes up in play, you can make an X card sign, either type X into chat, hold up your hands in an X sign, say X card. We'll probably ask what it is you are X carding, but there's no need to justify or provide reasons why. We'll just move to like remove that from the fiction. Then there is script change, which is a set of terms kind of derived from video editing that we use to help talk about fiction in play. First of those is pause, which is basically, hey, could we take a break here and talk about where the scene is going, what's happening? It's kind of a softer version of the X card. Like if you want to check in and make certain that like the scene is comfortable for everyone, or you might feel like the scene might go in a way that's uncomfortable for you, pause is useful. Then there is fast forward, where you are fine with something happening, you just don't want us to go into detail about it, or you feel like we're getting really bogged down in something unimportant. You can ask to fast forward, and we will kind of wrap up the broad strokes of what is happening, and then move on to and then kind of move on to the next scene. Then there is not step by step. There is rewind, which basically says, hey, it's basically retconning something in the fiction that we realize either makes us uncomfortable, or that we realize, oh, you know what? I really think we should have said this here. That would have been a great line there. And we can just say, yeah, that's fine. We will go back, add that into the fiction, and then continue play with that change in mind. And then finally, there is step by step, which is one we haven't used a lot of in the past. But it's basically let's all go very slowly in this scene, turn all of the safety tools up to max, and make certain that we are all playing with particular mind here to each other's safety. I have not brought it up in play, but theoretically, if there is a scene where we all agree where that makes us uncomfortable, but we all agree we still really want to see it, this is a good use of step. This is where we would use step by step or frame by frame. And then finally, we are making use of lines and veils. Lines and veils are a living document that we put together before play and check in again every session. That basically includes a set of themes that we want to pay particular attention to safety-wise. Lines are things that we do not want in the fiction at all, and veils are things that we are fine being in the fiction, but we don't want to go into detail about. And then I forget if this particular safety sheet that I yes, we also have ask firsts, which are things that we are fine having in the fiction, fine seeing, but they are reminders to us to check in and make certain that everyone is comfortable with what is happening in the fiction. So with that in mind, I'm wondering if folks could take a look at our lines and veils tab. There is, and go through, add anything you want. And I should note this list is not everything that could be there. There are more space underneath if you want to add things that aren't listed there. And once you are happy with where things are at, you can if you could type OK into chat. Yeah, and then I also have here in the lines and veils, I see some people are already filling it in, a romance options. This is a tool we've been making use of more recently on the Gauntlet. It is basically a way of letting people know ahead of time what kind of romance you're comfortable dealing with in the game. You know, some people are fine doing romance with other PCs or NPCs, or would rather not interact with any romance at all. I should note that like the picking that you are okay with romance with PCs or NPCs is not kind of blanket consent for any romance to happen to your character. You know, it's always something that we will check in about to make certain that you are comfortable with it. And I see okays from everyone. Let me take my own look here now that we have them all here. Great. Okay, let's So I see Chris is stepping away for a sec. But yeah, now that we have kind of gone through the whole process, I will. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just seeing through here. So I know JoLene, you are up for anything, and I know Brandon, you were kind of aiming for the second option of Chris's two.
Yeah, the unorthodox.
Yeah, and I saw in chat, Michael, you are looking at maybe a different one than the ones you mentioned.
No. I was actually talking to Chris because I thought he might.
Oh yeah, I
take
see.
Reborn.
I see. Chris is looking at the outsider now.
Yeah, so it's fine. But thanks for asking. Do you have any preferences for the roles, Brandon? Which direction are you going?
With an unorthodox?
Yeah.
I am. That's a very interesting question because I have not played Wulin Supernatural before, and the idea of going for what is it called now? Get those playbooks out here. The idea of going of taking inhuman guys is a powerful one. The monster drawn in by love. But I'd be happy with the prodigy, I think. Someone untrained who has been visited by power that they don't really understand.
Oh, that's interesting as well. Yeah, I was just asking because I think the accidental might change the tone quite a bit, so that might be something we should all agree on. But
yeah, no, I don't think I'm not going to. That's not something I'd want to play this time.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And so yeah, this is something that we're reading up for people watching. Besides each playbook, each playbook has kind of a collection of roles that we pick from to begin with. That kind of denote like what kind of narrative role you have in the story. And each of them kind of comes paired with its own move. And so, Chris, I want to check in. I saw that you were now looking at the Outsider playbook.
Yeah, I think playing a Cursed would be really interesting.
Oh yeah, the Cursed is a fun it's a fun one.
So if there's no competition for that, I think that's what I'm going with.
Cool. And so, Michael, which of the playbooks do you think you're settling in on then? Because I think now you have nobody has mentioned either of your top choices.
Yeah. I think I'll go with the villain, but I still have to decide which role, and I'll definitely need some input when creating the character or hear whatever people are doing to because I'm tending towards the reborn villain. And that might be interesting because there's a creature involved and I'm not really that familiar with mythology or stuff that might work here.
Well, yeah, and that could tie into my character very strongly.
Yeah. That was another...
There's a beautiful set of entanglements already just sprouting from that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, JoLene, with everybody else kind of has their options figured out here. What are you looking at?
Looking at the aware traveling teacher.
Cool.
Ooh.
I was hoping someone would take the aware.
Yeah. Like, I was like, I want to be one of those crazy wandering persons. Then reading about that, I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. The move where I'm like, oh, I'm about to roll interconf. Like, nope. So something shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never played it.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. Kind of for folks, if I forget, I think a few folks here are newer to this game, but basically the way that, unlike other Powered by the Apocalypse games that have more like one-to-one, like kind of each stat is associated with a particular set of moves, in Hearts of Wulin, you instead have elements, which are earth, fire, metal, water, and wood. And actually, I think this character creation is a little bit old. You only get one array. They're like, everyone has the same starting array choice. There aren't multiple array choices in the final edition. You assign, if you look over at character creation, you're going to assign a 2 to one of your elements, 2 1s to another 2 elements, and then a 0 and a -1. And the character sheet shows what kind of the emotions that are associated with each element, and that is usually informs us which element you roll with for a move. The one exception to like that is that you're going to pick one of them to be your style element, and this is the element that is specifically associated with how you fight. And you will always use that element to fight with. And if that element ever becomes marked, meaning that you can't roll it, your character is actually like been rendered in some way unable to fight any longer until you unmark it. And you'll see, like, down below there is a place to enter in your style element, as well as to name your style and what kind of weapon you fight with. It's assumed, I should note, in Hearts of Wulin that our characters are all sort of multi-talented. You can fight unarmed and with weapons you find, but you have but usually we kind of name a particular weapon that is your like signature weapon. Oh man, everybody's style element is fire. We're all very passionate people here.
I was actually about to pick that as well. Yeah.
I had water for a second, but then I was like, you know what? Flaming whips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Might go with metal.
I mean, we can all be a bunch of passionate people, Michael. That's fine.
There is something to be said for kindred spirits forming a party. Being a bunch of dumbasses getting involved in shit because none of us can stop each other.
Yeah, but I think I envisioned something like calculate.
Fine, I'll change.
No.
Well, no,
I mean, look, it doesn't matter.
If you don't want
Yet
to.
everyone has something else.
Oh wait, I like creativity too much to not have it be fire.
Yeah.
Patience.
well, but wood is curiosity, so
It's true.
It is, and with an umbrella, I would think wood is a very natural.
Ah, that is true. I don't know. Look, I'm torn between the creative uses of an umbrella versus the patience group.
Yeah, it's all up to you as you see umbrella fighting. But when I think of an umbrella, I think of one that's like, parry 20 blows, and then the little sock with the point of the umbrella, and then a bunch of more improbable parries, and it's
Like,
completely.
they fire arrows and open her up.
Well, yeah, no, I mean completely wearing out the opponent. Having them strike at nothing, and then until you put in
All
the
right,
little shot,
you sold me.
It's however you envision it. It's just that I think that's cool.
And then also, not gonna lie, almost all the time fire is my style element. So I'm like, I gotta switch it up some. I'm still good at fire, but
Oh yeah.
Cool. And I should note that also each of the playbooks, like all of us have, like I see people are already putting in sort of the portraits for their characters. Above them you'll see that there is a sort of set of player agendas. This is like not hard rules, but they are like reminders to us what we're pursuing as characters in this world, which are to embrace sincerity, speak obliquely about the heart, play with everyone's entanglements, and act in the service of something greater. But each of the playbooks also has their own unique player agenda associated with them, as a kind of added thing to help inform each particular playbook. And you'll find those, I believe, they're listed in character creation, but you should also be able to find them over in the playbook move list there, starting on line 16. And then finally, the kind of last thing we do of the actual sort of map of the kind of pick list side before we get into introducing characters is to is that you also pick 2 further moves besides the roll move from your playbook. And you'll note that there are also a couple extra moves all the way right on the playbook list. Those are associated with the kind of the fantastic playset, and anyone is allowed to pick those as if they were a playbook move. Except it looks like a step in the past has the wrong, or
I think a step in the past is repeated. It's
yeah,
twice, and the first time it has the wrong text.
Yeah,
because that's a playbook roll move.
Yeah.
That first one.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah, I was looking at that myself, but yes, I just removed one of the wrong step in the past.
Cool.
I'm wondering if we could, let's see here, go by the character keeper order this time, which means to introduce our characters, which means that we are opening on Dancing Magpie, she, her. Or sorry, yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and like give us your intro to who you're playing.
Hey, I'm JoLene. I'm playing Dancing Magpie, she, her. Let's see. She uses an umbrella to fight, because I found the art. I'm like, all right, got to make a character based off this. So I like it. She's got the cool veil, real very luxurious hair. She's like a wandering teacher apparently. I don't know if she's a good teacher, but she's like good enough apparently that like her school was like, yeah, you've learned all that we can teach you, I guess. Oh. Or she just went off and decided to be her own teacher. I haven't created a faction group in mind yet that she's part of. I'm not sure if we're there yet.
I mean, does she have any continuing relationship with this school that she has walked away from?
I would say yes. Maybe those are some of the students that come to like teach learn from her at inopportune moments or opportune moments. Who knows what the case may be.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other question I want to ask then is this like a school that is part of like the kind of imperial sort of structure, or is it a school that is like indigenous or local to your province?
I would say it's definitely not like empire imperial. It's more indigenous, local.
Mm-hmm. And you can think on, there's also, if in the way back of the Hearts of Wulin book, I can just, let me see how well these
random names, right? They exist, right?
Yeah.
Are they entanglements and names, right?
Yeah, there's also just a random set of
factions. Oh. I missed this entire style name choice.
And if you want to think on that name, we can leave the name up in the air for now. But so you talked about you don't know if she's a. So I note that. Are you like? Do you like is like, because I know you also took like God of Gamblers. Is teaching like your actual like bread and butter, or are you, or is this more like people come to you seeking teaching, and that's more of like you give it, but you're mostly you do other things to
yes, like I like to see it as she believes that she's achieved like the pinnacle of her school, but like that's, I mean, look, that you wouldn't be a PC in the game, you'd be like a god of whatever. But like she's most like she gets by on gambling and traveling, the kindness of others sometimes, and like a lot of her teaching is like you gotta really learn by doing your own, but doing it on your own. You can't just take instruction all day. That's no way to learn. But like she will teach as best she can, because she's kind of she's decent at patience. She's pretty good, pretty patient, but there's like only so much you can learn from others, is a lot of her core principles. You're muted.
How has the Empire wronged you?
Ooh. I think yeah, they have like, our school was much more like bigger and like formal, before, and like it was basically shut down. And it's like it's sort of one of those things, like I think from history, like people learned how to fight with like kamas because they're peasant weapons, because they were not allowed to actually learn how to fight. And that's why we use things like umbrellas and like other like things. These are innocuous items.
Oh, great. So, I'm wondering, does anyone else have any questions for Dancing Magpie to get a sense of who she is, what she's about?
Do you like teaching?
That's exactly the question I had.
Oh.
She does, but she tries not to show it.
So she appears a little standoffish in that regard.
Yeah, because I mean, lots of like teachers shouldn't get like too invested, or at least that's her belief, because like, you know, can't show favoritism. Like, this is great, but I can't let. It's very Emma Frosty of like, I love teaching, but I cannot let people know that I love anything.
Okay, follow up. Is there like a Miyagi-Do kind of Karate Kid wax on, wax off element to that?
I'm gonna say yes, because that's very fun. Like the Cobra Kai, I'm like, no, what?
Great.
It's like, how long have you stood in the rain? Have you learned anything yet? Don't get wet, that's right.
Why do you think I carry an umbrella with me?
I went with the faction as like Temple of the Hidden Labors. I don't know.
Cool. Could you... There's a place on your character way up at the top to put it in. Okay,
Put it in.
cool.
Cool. Oh, there's faction. Okay.
Cool. So, yeah, that is Dancing Magpie here. Kind of continuing around. I guess next we have Black Jade.
So Black Jade is a young, unsophisticated young woman. Somewhat pretty, but not, but dressed in simple clothes, not stylish, not beautifully made up or anything. Although she has one striking feature, which is her eyes, which are both sad and compelling. She was married young to a warrior of good heart who was ambushed by an enemy clan and killed. She fled. On the point of capture, she encountered a creature in the woods of power, threw herself at its mercy, and it killed her pursuers and taught her how to fight. And since then, she has gone out in the world and looking for trouble. This is entirely fabrication. None of that is true. She is actually, if anything, she is the creature in question. She is a lamia, half human, half serpent, shapeshifter, who, unlike many of her kind, that were content to be essentially monstrous, she yearned for love, and she found it at least once in the past, and by her nature and her carelessness of youth destroyed that person. And so she has come out looking again to satisfy her driving need for love and for companionship, and to conceal, of course, her overriding concern is to conceal who she is, and what she really does. Her tell is that there is always something about her that has a fang motif on it. Whatever her guise is. And if that's not enough for her to tell, then her eyes can reflect like a cat's. She fights with a spear with a forked blade. A rather unusual weapon. And her style is called Viper Strike because it is lightning fast. What else do you need to know? Steven?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just looking at your character sheet and I was double checking.
I haven't chosen. I've picked an extra move, but I'm going to take one of them out. I just haven't decided which one I want.
Yeah, I was. That's what I was just working out here.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm curious. It's love that's drawn you back to the world of humans again, even after losing it once before.
Yes. Yeah. The yearning has not gone away. She mourns and she hopes to do better this time. But she's also aware that she's, that may be doomed. Nevertheless, she is driven to doing it.
Mm-hmm. And I am wondering, because you talk about the rest of your kind that are monsters. What's
Why am I different?
What's the most fearsome legend of a local legend of a lamia? And is it about you?
Yes, it's absolutely about me. Fearsome or striking? Well,
I said fearsome. I didn't know if that was. Sorry. I didn't know if you were saying well, is it really a fearsome legend or is it a striking one about me?
Well, no. I mean, I could easily think of a legend that's not, but that's not fearsome. But let's see. I mean, I think it's fearsome enough. The lamia is like the classic is like a siren. That it lives a creature in the woods. That if you are of a certain type, you cannot help but fall in love with them. And they will love you back, and it will destroy you.
Cool.
And people can say, and it happens, this person went into the woods and they never came back. Where they came back, and they were 60 years older, or something like that. In fact, I like that one. So the most fearsome legend is the character that came in and they left. They came back a year later and they had aged 40 years. And they could only sort of vaguely recall what had happened.
Cool. And I'm wondering, who have you fallen in with or work or have because you are living among humans, and I'm wondering, do you serve in a local imperial court, or do you spend more of your time working among the local humans or even among rebel groups in the area?
I don't know. I mean, in the setting of the Jasmine throne, the obvious, the role that first strikes me is that she's a maidservant to some fine lady.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could be either a local or it could be an imperial. Whatever turns out to be more interesting for the group.
I mean, if we really I don't want to put too many things on Michael's conception of his character, but I would just if like you were a maidservant to like the wife of your late lover.
Absolutely.
But Michael, this is all just stuff in the air. You don't have. This is not anything that is holding like I will require. So we'll hold off on this.
Obviously, yeah. Let's make it husband, and then it works out.
Yeah, wife or husband, either one. Does that work for you? That you are a servant in the household of?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. I became a servant in order to be near them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And of course, it's this is a terrible idea.
Yep.
And I'm probably jealous of his husband, and causing problems.
Does anyone have any questions for Black Jade that they are about them or who she is?
I don't know, but if you were there, Chris, when Brandon came up with the connection between our characters, so if you don't mind, Brandon, just repeating it.
So the fearsome legend is partly true because it happened to you. You for whatever reason you were in the woods and you encountered Black Jade and an alluring guise as a young woman and fell in love with her and stayed with her for a while, and either you died there in the woods or when you came out of the woods you were so old that you died soon afterwards. You came out and for you had aged 60 years even though you'd only been gone a year or two. So that's what I suggested.
Dope. So sorry I was late. Much truly missed. I was here for JoLene.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that we are we hadn't gotten into much by the time before you got here. So if you wanted to though introduce us to Carnelian.
It's a rock. I don't know.
Yeah, Carnelian
Carnelian.
Rose.
Carnelian? I can honestly. I'm not super happy with Carnelian Rose as a name. The rose is apt, but I need a cooler rock. But Carnelian Rose, I think, is a like dancer and courtesan in the high like. Okay, what is our setting like? Are we in a city?
That's something I was gonna talk out. I feel like we're probably aiming towards a city located near a fearsome woods, just because of some of the fiction we've set up. But something that I think you might have missed is something I am kind of throwing out here is for folks that I'm going to ask about the faction you're associated with. Is it an imperial faction? Is it an indigenous faction to the province? Or is it a rebel faction? But yeah, a city works for me. Does that work for folks? Yeah, I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay.
So, yeah, then I would say that they're sort of at the higher end of that particular spectrum in terms of profit, wealth, I guess. But the curse that they are under is that they have had, on one very unfortunate night, they had their heart stolen by some supernatural force that they just cannot recall any details about. And now they're somewhat less able to work because there is a giant hole in their chest where the heart should be. They dress it up with flowers as much as they can, but it's, they're ultimately a freak and a monster in their own eyes. Beyond that, I think as a result, they have switched sides from the sort of indigenous or rebellious faction to the imperial faction. Because clearly this supernatural nonsense that everyone's going on about is very dangerous.
Interesting. And I'm curious then to ask, what sort of imperial faction are you sort of associated with? Like, is this a noble house, or is this some sort of mystical order? I'm curious.
I think I am a known informant for like a peacekeeping security faction.
Mm-hmm.
Probably an order of some kind of like ghost cop. Yeah.
And I'll ask this then: how? What kindness have they offered you in exchange for your services?
A means of concealing what I am.
Mm-hmm. Cool. How, like, is it like when you say a means of concealing, is this like some sort of mystical means?
I think it's a material. I think it's a like a powder or some sort of medicinal like what is the poultice is the word that they have to keep me on a steady supply of for me to look normal.
Mm-hmm. I am just curious because you talked about like them literally taking your heart, and we're going with stone names. Is that what has been left in its place?
Probably. Now that you say that, I think maybe there is in fact a carnelian rose where my heart used to be.
Great. Wonderful.
Ugh, please.
Ooh.
But yes, does anyone have any questions for TBD Rose about them or what they're about?
So, why do you think someone took your heart?
Why does anyone visit cruelty upon a courtesan? Because there's no consequence.
But they must have. But it seems like a lot of trouble they must have had a use for it.
Perhaps.
Okay.
I've not thought of it. But in terms of, yeah, I don't think Carnelian Rose really cares all that much. The ways of spirits are mysterious and all that, but in terms of actual things, I don't know. Maybe for a potion, maybe for some kind of ritual that requires hearts. Who's to say? Maybe it's a means of control at some later unspecified point. I can still feel it, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but I took it. I took an entanglement that says my heart trembles, so clearly I can still feel what my heart is doing.
Right. Hurts even though it's a phantom pain.
Yeah.
It hurts even though it's not there.
I also did want to ask to clarify for me, because I am just curious, because you fight with flaming ribbons. So are these like ribbons you set on fire, or actual like ribbons of flame?
I think it is ribbons that I set on fire.
Okay.
So I can like the ribbons are part of my act, so to say, and then I can use them like that or set them on fire.
And I am curious, the last question I have is, you talked about kind of switching sides recently. I'm curious about what drew you to the rebellion or the indigenous side of local politics before all this happened, before you turned coat.
Family ties, which I'm sure will come up in entanglements.
Cool, great. And yeah, so just check, were there any other questions people had? Okay, so yeah, finally we come to our last character, Crimson Moonlight.
Yeah, so I'll play Crimson Moonlight, who uses he/him pronouns, and as you can see on the picture, he's a rather handsome young man in his late 20s, early 30s, now that he's back from the dead and young again. Because he died and was revived, and probably have to workshop that with you guys. And but he's obviously part of the noble factions, although well, he's definitely well dressed and handsome, as I said, and he's using a fan for fighting. So I'm picturing him as being very calculated, and this style element is metal. The style name is Taunting Mantis style, and I picture something like he opens his fan and distracts the enemy, and they might get closer and lure it in, and then he strikes very fast and hard. So probably also uses some provoking speech to get people distracted or angry. And as I said, I came back from the dead, and now there's something with me. Only I can see, a spirit, a ghost, or a monster. And it has some kind of supernatural senses, and can aid me, but I also have to do its bidding in a way. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Is there anything else I should elaborate on?
Yeah, you talked about your family you talked about kind of being a noble. I'm curious if you saw your character as being with like the like a part of the indigenous nobility or a part of the imperial nobility before they died, at least.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, because I haven't. I really appreciate that there was so much input for my character, but bringing it all together, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and I know we've talked kind of a lot glancingly about your character, but so like we can like decide what you want to be true about your character, and then decide what of the other stuff we've said we should keep or like modify or throw out.
Yeah. So I think the starting point for me, and that's something I have to wrap my head around, is that it's the villain playbook. And I think that could be interesting to be kind of imperial nobility, and maybe my husband is from indigenous nobility, and therefore we married. But I'm just curious, what would be considered an orthodox faction? Would that be the indigenous people, maybe, or?
I mean, I guess I sort of see, like, if we're using the kind of this is a term that Michael's using that's from kind of the Hearts of Wulin. I guess I would see it like, oh, I'm forgetting the, like, Orthodox represents, like, probably I'd say Imperial.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it could either be like you're straight up like a part of the noble house that was basically given this province by the emperor, or you could be like, it could also represent some sort of military order that is in charge of this region, or even some kind of like political institution that we might want to say has charge of this region.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because the playbook aims towards being unorthodox.
Yeah, like, I totally could see then, like, if we wanted to do like the reverse of Carnelian Rose, that the reason you were resurrected was to like atone for whatever you did as governor. For some reason that we will find out.
Yeah. Or I could, on that, then it gets really complicated, sorry. I could have been originally with the Imperial faction, then I died, and then I joined the rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Would that work as well? Then I might not be back yet with my husband.
I think that's what I was implying, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. So I died, was resurrected, and at some point I have to flesh out how and why. and what my companion can do. But maybe that's something that will come up when they appear. Okay, so let's do that. I'm part of the rebels at the moment, and I want to go back at the Imperial forces.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we wanted to like play around with the idea of the forest, kind of drawing from, like maybe it's not so much the why or like maybe there isn't so much like a particular why beyond the fact that you died within the forest, and so something was able to gain a hold of you.
Yeah, definitely like a nature spirit or something.
Yes.
I like that.
Oh, that gives me an entanglement idea.
Ah, man, like some other spirit is muscling in on your man, Black Jade.
Well, no, I mean, there's an entanglement for the Fantastic Orthodox that says Blank's friend, Blank is another of my kind, but I cannot reveal them without giving myself away. So it's like, I know about your...
The only thing that might be a bit complicated is that I'm the only one that can see them. Maybe at this moment they might want to come into this world as well.
I mean, I think that still works if I know that they're there. You know,
okay, cool.
Maybe they leave behind some trace or some sign, or I overheard you talking to them.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that, and so I know what's going on. You know, it's like there's another supernatural creature here, and I don't know how to feel about that.
Okay, cool. So it's maybe not exactly the same kind of creature, but you're related or whatever.
A creature of the woods, we might say, is the kind here.
Yeah, perfect.
Otherworldly in some aspect.
Cool. So we'll probably work out some of the names because we introduced like a couple. Like you're working with the rebels now, but you're also part of. So I'm going to ask at some point for us to come up with names for both who you used to work for and who you now work for. But does anyone else have any questions about Crimson Moonlight, who he is, what he's about?
What's your husband's name? Do you have a name yet?
Jade
Starlight. You do have a name. Okay, good.
Oh, man. I see that there's I fall in love with their sibling. Like, I have so many terrible thoughts about who Black Jade might be half siblings with. Because, I mean, you know, you're like you said, you're half human, half serpent. Whoever, like, maybe one of your parents is just whole serpent, Black Jade.
Might be. It might be, or you know, no one knows what happens if a monster and a human have progeny. You know, they're probably all monsters, but that doesn't stop them from having. And so, so I could well have a sibling that's, or maybe it's just a crapshoot. You know, you get
Starlight could be in disguise too.
It's true.
You could have been born to two human parents as the result of a curse.
That's absolutely right. Any of those, they're all great. I love them. Whatever fits other people's entanglements and makes them a complete mess.
Great. Okay.
What I want.
I've already dangled family ties. So
yes, I want family ties. So if I get a family ties, it's still be a monster. I'm all for it.
So, I wanted to finally the last kind of bit of character creation we need to get to today is entanglements. Now, entanglements, for anyone watching, are a kind of unique thing to Hearts of Wulin's character creation compared to other PBTA games. rather than for like most PBTA games, often we have relationships which are usually questions directed at other player characters. Entanglements are similar, but entanglements are always sort of playing into the conflicted emotions and loyalties of Wulin characters, and so we're always directed at two characters. Usually it's going to be an NPC and one PC, but sometimes you'll really feel an entanglement that feels true to your character, and you might want to direct it at two PCs or two NPCs. That usually will just mean it will take a little bit more work to bring it into the fiction, either for like the PCs to really buy into like the entanglement you set up, or to kind of have us bring in more NPC drama. But yeah, so generally the way we'll do this is I'm going to go around once, and I know we've already talked about some entanglements, but I'm going to start going from left to right, and everybody will throw out one entanglement, and then we'll do a second set going around again. So I'm wondering, Dancing Magpie, do you have a entanglement you want to look for volunteers for? Or throw out a suggestion for someone to pick one up?
Sure. I mean, I have a suggestion, if it works with you, Chris. I would like to have the romantic entanglement with you. I love Rose of the Scarlet Coral, but my sister, Ninth Raven, has been accused of a crime by them. And I see this,
Ooh.
because, like, my sister's, like, you know, she plays the flute, so, like, presumably, like, because you said you were a courtesan with the higher-ups, so, like, maybe, look, I don't know if the crime is real or not, if it's accurate, but I want to see if you're into it.
I mean, yeah.
that.
Okay.
Is the crime somehow aiding the rebellion?
Is that a question for either?
Either of you, yeah.
What do you think, Scarlet Coral? Is that what she's been accused of?
Yeah, I think that's what she's been accused of.
Okay, then she's totally guilty.
I do kind of want to bring in like I did this at the behest of a noble house, like without my knowledge. Like there's some higher up that's like personally targeting her, but.
And it could be totally a thing where, like, you don't even know if she did the crime, but you did accuse her of the crime.
Yes, for sure.
So how did she aid the rebellion? Is this that she was a spy, or was it something more?
I think she's been accused of being a spy for the rebellion, which she has, but she wasn't sure that anyone knew about that. So, like,
But
maybe
sometimes
it's
you frame
this is
a
petty
person
jealousy, you know,
Yeah.
but like because it's two courtesans like bickering, but
like sometimes you frame a person for a crime that they actually committed.
yeah, you know, sometimes you can be right.
Fake charges for a real crime. In my notes. But yeah, continuing around that, we have Black Jade. Do you have an entanglement that you were? Yeah.
Oh, there were so many I look at. The one I'm considering here is Blank knows my secret and threatens to tell my friend will not understand why I've deceived him. I'm thinking that I'll go with the miss. We'll put in Jade Starlight. Knows my secret.
So currently you work for him, right? Or was that in the past?
Well, I work for the both of you, don't I?
Yeah, that's why I bring that up,
Is that
because
true? Is that- is
after
that
Resurrection,
true?
I might not have
Yeah.
returned yet.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I misunderstood. Hmm. Well, JoLene, for your second entanglement, do you have a notion as to what that might be? Because it would fit really well with my first one.
Okay, yeah, like I was hoping to have you involved in that second one.
Okay.
That
So,
my friend is either in
yeah.
love with you. I was like,
Okay.
there's something weird about that. I'm not sure. Honestly, all of you all fit for that, but
Yeah, no, so yeah, I'll take that one then, and let's name the friend.
yeah, that's why I was like, I gotta look up the friends list. So. Dark friends list.
Oh, there's a friends list.
Well, I mean, entanglements and
Oh.
names list.
Oh, okay.
I was just looking at the generic names. How about Sky Daughter Lee?
Yes. Okay. So I'll take as my first entanglement that I love Sky Daughter Lee. But get the wording right. But they have declared the hatred of my kind after what happened to Crimson Moonlight.
Oh. Okay.
Does that work?
I mean, yeah, that works fine for your entanglement. So then, like, that could be a different friend of mine. Because my entanglements, my friend loves you, so, like...
Oh, okay.
Like, we
Okay,
can keep the person Sky Daughter Lee. That's easy. I could be friends with them, too. I have lots of friends.
No, what? No,
That could be, like, a former student of mine.
absolutely. Well, who's what? So I guess I love another NPC then. And we'll call them Silver Willow. There. The entanglements in this game is like deciding what to eat at a giant smorgasbord where you don't have that much appetite, where you can only have so many dishes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I want to try that too.
Yeah, and sorry, I keep disconnecting, and I was like looking over at the character sheet, so I didn't notice that I had disconnected from StreamYard. I was wondering, because I see you've picked out Silver Willow, that entanglement there. I am curious, kind of going back to Dancing Magpie for a moment. What is the Dark Destiny?
I don't look... So... Dancing Magpie is the one non-really fantastical member of the PCs. Like, she's... But, like, look, there's just... I don't know. Every time I think about them together, like... I don't know. This is when my gambling goes sour or something. Something bad. There's always some ill omen. I'm like, Whenever Sky Daughter Lee is talking about Black Jade, I'm like, something always happens. I'm like, I'm not sure about this.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Cool. So yeah, then for Black Jade, so what I kind of want to work out then of what you've picked here is we have Silver Willow, who loves you, but who also has some kind of relationship with Crimson Moonlight, enough that they've declared a hatred of your kind because of what happened to him.
Right.
So I'm wondering,
or it could be
go ahead.
Jade Starlight. Could be Jade Starlight if you want to get closer to home. But what do you think, Michael?
Yeah, it works as well. So,
Or do you have a daughter or something? Because it implies that they're right, that this person's close to you.
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be an entanglement of yours, but so
I mean,
could be a
I
daughter.
don't
could be a
think
friend.
he's old enough to have a grown-up daughter.
I mean, this could be
But you are.
be your most trusted bodyguard, who always stood by your side, protecting you and secretly loved you.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
That's perfect. I didn't mean to fall in love with them. It just happened.
R2. Crimson Moonlight. Cool. Awesome. And now, if we could, Rose, do you have a entanglement that you wanted to assign?
I have one. I'll go with the easy one. I suspect Black Jade knows much about my curse, but accusing them will offend someone. There's any number of people it will offend. What proper noun do you think is most appropriate there, Brandon?
The name of the NPC here. Somebody really important. What household are you in right now?
Me?
Yes.
I'm not. I'm
okay.
not affiliated, at least outwardly.
Let's see. Who would it offend? I mean, obviously, it has to be somebody who really matters. If it's just a name, we can that you need.
I mean, I don't know. So are we still, like, here's a thought. Is Black Jade, are we still going with Black Jade has a known connection to Crimson Moonlight? Not Crimson Moonlight. Jade Starlight.
The connection is that I'm in their household, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a trusted or non-trusted servant.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, to accuse Jade Starlight's servant of somehow, like, consorting with dark forces of the woods You might as well be accusing Jade Starlight themselves of
Yes, that's right.
being a monster of the woods, which I'm sure they're totally not.
So yeah, Jade Starlight works very well.
There we go then.
Yeah, watch out! Don't piss off nobility.
As to why I suspect you, I don't think there's a concrete reason. I think it's just a feeling, you know?
It's just a feeling, and the fact that I actually have your heart.
Well, I don't know that.
No, I don't know it's yours, and I don't know it's yours, and I don't know what heart I have is yours.
Oh, so this is interesting. You got the heart from a third party.
I did. Well, because I felt like I needed to have an actual heart. Lamias generally don't. Lamias generally don't.
I see.
They are creatures of pleasure. I mean, they enjoy their liaisons with people, but they don't love. And so, yeah, someone traded me a heart for some service or the archaic item that I possessed.
I see, and
I feel this is that I need this in order to really understand what it is to be human.
I see.
But I don't know who it is.
Yeah, but I'm wondering who was it that traded the heart to you?
That's an interesting question. Well, obviously it's I would say it's a sorcerer of some sort, right? Someone who can actually steal a heart.
I mean, yeah, and if we really want to lean into the irony of it, is it an imperial sorcerer?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The reason I chose coral is that coral isn't a stone or a single organism. Coral is a colony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an imperial sorcerer did it because they wanted either a service that I could do for them or something that lay in the deep dark woods that was inaccessible to them.
Right.
An artifact, in a ruin there that you just couldn't be obtained by any means because that part of the woods is so dangerous. And so they made a bargain with me that if I would fetch it, that they would give me a heart.
Cool.
Others of my kind would go, why on earth would you want to have that? They don't understand.
Exactly. Then, yeah, Crimson Moonlight, do you have a entanglement you want to give out? I think we already kind of were discussing one of your entanglements.
Yeah. So I'd rather go with the second one then, because that's less clear. And that might help. So who's actually not working for Imperial forces now? Where does Rose of Scarlet Coral stand?
I think Rose is a secret informant for the Imperials.
Okay.
But once was, but she's not necessarily known to be.
Mm-hmm. So I think might be interesting also after hearing JoLene's character to have her Dancing Magpie as a rival, because obviously at the very beginning when I was working for the Imperial forces, I was her enemy, and now we kind of are both on the same side, but still might clash. And so I choose you, if that's okay with you, that I promise to Shulong that I will work together with you.
Totally.
To help you.
I was good for either of them, having another sibling or being your rival, either or.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's come back around then. Well, we already basically discussed out both of yours, Dancing Magpie. But Black Jade, you still have that list. I see still have that list of 3 different possible entanglements there. Is there one that you're more drawn to after hearing other people's?
Yeah, well, I want to pick one of the ones where the I've hidden my true identity from someone because of my past with someone. It repeats too much. I think some of the other ones that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm inclined to take that someone knows my secret and threatens to tell my friend Dancing Magpie, who will not understand why I've deceived them. Because I think it'd be nice for Black Jade to have a friend, and Dancing Magpie is the obvious one, and also is kind of someone that she would look up to. So
okay I'm totally okay with that. I didn't know if that's what you were waiting for. Sorry.
No, I'm just waiting for anybody to chime in. So the question is, who knows?
I think I would understand why you've deceived me based on what your secret is, but we can work with that,
Well, maybe you wouldn't understand why I wouldn't tell you, because you would understand.
Okay.
But I
just mean like,
because the truth is, I wouldn't tell you because I'm terrified. Yeah. I'm frightened of you. I'm not frightened of anyone. So, you. I'm frightened of you. Anyway, so who knows my secret, guys? Is it some new person, or is it somebody you already have heard of? And why? And of course, why? Why are they forbearing? Why are they not telling?
Let's see, we got a lot of Jade Starlight already. It could be Shulong. It could be Ninth Raven.
Who is Shulong?
Shulong is Crimson Moonlight's companion.
Okay, and Ninth Raven is your sister.
Yes. And I'm looking at the other. I think. Yeah, we only have the 4 NPCs so far. And Sky Daughter Leah, you already have she's already in love with you.
And I am already in love with Silver Willow, so we have to.
Oh, we have 5 NPCs then.
We do.
There is the sorcerer who we have not named yet.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's bring him in.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. A sorcerer probably should know.
Oh, yeah, a sorcerer knows. I mean, that's why he came to me for the trade. So let's give him a name. Something sorcerers.
Sagacious Jew?
Could be Father Locust. Ice Blood name. That's quite a name. One of those two. What do people think?
I like Father Locust is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty spot on
ominous
name
sounding
right there.
name. Yeah.
Okay.
My go-to is always like, all right, what are the characters from Jade Empire? Okay, there's only 6 of them.
Okay.
On.
So, Father Locust, the Imperial Sorcerer, knows my secret and threatens to tell my friend Dancing Magpie. Will not understand why I'm sick.
Interesting. Cool. So yeah, coming back around to Rose.
And of course, probably the reason why he hasn't told the secret is in part because it may redound badly for him too.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the mutually assured destruction thing, right?
Yes, but he's still using it as leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he knows I want this more than he can cover, but I have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm outed, I'm kind of done. I mean, outed in general.
Mm-hmm.
And he's found, and he's gone after an attachment of mine. It's like, oh, you like this, you respect this dancing magpie. I wonder what would happen if she found out who you really were.
Right.
It's like, okay, what do you want me to do?
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, let's come back around to Rose.
I have no ideas for this one. I'm just scanning through everyone else's romantic entanglements for maximum spice, and I'm not getting any clear ideas. There you go.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's a few options. I feel like the clearest option might be for having fled from Dancing Magpie.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that too, because like,
That is
not only did you
plan.
turn my sister in,
I think that might have been like a much later thing where I was
yeah.
I was like, well, I could never ever speak to them again now.
Well, the question is, who is it that makes your heart ache when you see them?
I will leave that
Who
up.
am I with? Yeah.
Yeah, who are you with?
Oh,
I mean, you love Rose of Scarlet Coral.
I do, but I'm not with them.
No.
So I've got to find someone else. No. Nope. It's a spirit. Nobody can see that.
And of course, with doesn't necessarily mean romantically with. It's just enough that
Yeah, but it's more
it bothers
fun when it
Rose of
is.
Scarlet Coral. Sure.
It's that it's more fun when it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who's Silver Willow?
Silver Willow is Crimson Moonlight's bodyguard.
Okay.
What
do you know about them?
They are fanatically devoted to
Oh, you two
Crimson
love each
Moonlight.
other too, right?
No, I love them, and if they knew who I was, they would want to kill me.
All right. So I'm gonna just go to the good old names list.
I should write down. Is somebody writing down these characters?
Yeah, I'm adding them to the NPCs over
Wonderful.
here.
Names are hard. Okay. Smiling Mountain we'll go with. Is that good? With you, Rose? Chris? Smiling Mountain work for an NPC?
Is that that's just a name? We don't know anything about that?
She, her. She's big. She's
Yeah,
large.
I can do that. Works for me. With Smiling Mountain. How about Grinning Mountain?
Okay, yeah.
How do you think, like, what Like, is this like a like let's say we said you're in a relationship, but is this an affair of love, or is this more that like she is your current like
The latter.
patron / lover?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not so much. It's an affair, but probably not patron, but like companions.
Yeah.
Like traveling companions for a time.
Oh, traveling. Yeah. Okay, that was my other thought. Okay. So is she much in like a much the kind of a similar kind of circles to you, or does she have like she's giant, so is she like a like mercenary or something like that?
I would say no. I think like she's like, she comes from farm stock basically. That's the way I see it. Like she's very peasantry clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But like she's good at fighting because, just her sheer size and knows how to use it. She's got like some skill, obviously. I mean, it's a wuxia movie. Everyone's good at it. It's a wuxia show. Everyone's good at fighting.
They just
need to be
differently well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of trying to get a sense of like you talked about in similar circles. So I was like, is she like a bodyguard at times, or like what kind of stuff does she do that you're in the same circles?
I mean, like, cause like I travel and to help out people. Obviously, I help the oppressed more or less, and she does the same. Like,
okay.
Visually, I'm thinking if you've seen, I think it's called Encanto, the Pixar movie with the magic Spanish house, like the real strong sister.
Okay.
That's like the visual idea I have in mind.
Yeah, that's the summer camp I'm working for. Their theme this year is Encanto. So when we give out scholar dollars for good behavior, like there's occasionally like her face shows up on some of them.
Yeah.
Luisa.
Yeah, like Luisa. And she's like always the one like, no, these people really need our help. Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go. Sure.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, cool. Awesome. And that brings us around to Jade Starlight, to Crimson Moonlight. And are you still like good with that choice of an entanglement, or do you feel like you want to change it up?
Well, the thing is, there isn't any suggested. There aren't any suggested.
Yeah, there aren't I tried looking through the book, but there are not like suggested entanglements for the villain in the worlds of Wulin.
So,
but there are, I think, if we go over to the entanglements, there are a lot of like a big list of generic ones that aren't like with a particular playbook.
Yes, there are quite a lot of generic ones.
Yeah, but I think I'll stick with that one.
Okay.
Because it might be interesting to be in love with someone else while also having a husband. But now, and maybe we have to retcon that part I said earlier. I'm just wondering what would make more sense if I'm back at my household and pretend still to work for the Empire, or be outside and then later on we'll see a scene where I meet my husband.
I mean, I feel like for the Reborn, at least in my sense, is that in some set way you've had to abandon your old life, whether by choice or whether by choice or not. And so I like the idea that you have this husband you still have like some kind of like feelings for, but you're also in love with their sibling.
Yeah. So who, and we can change the relationship if cousin fits better or whatever, or let's say pupil or teacher or whatever. But who would fit? I mean, would I be drawn to Black Jade again?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
it's because she looks different, but it's like the heart knows.
Yeah. So should I go with a sibling or servant, or what would be appropriate here?
If you just change sibling to servant, then that's perfectly. It fits exactly what we've already established.
Okay, let's do that.
But so I'm just curious. Are we then like? Because it's just I'm just working this out because like your thing, Black Jade, is that you're in disguise. So are we still going with that you are secretly related to them, or is this like we are saying that but the relationship is not that then that it is like one that is like employment?
Well, we were considering changing sibling to servant there, so.
Okay.
If that's okay, I mean.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to check because I know we talked about other stuff earlier. So I just wanted to check in about that now.
Yeah, no, I think it's that being a devoted servant is an interesting relationship that's different than some of the others we've had. So I kind of want to keep that.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So then, yeah, and right, it's like, oh, why is this this maid, so attractive? She's,
So I guess then the question is like that I want to throw out is why. So presumably part of the question I'm having here, what part of the question I'm having here that makes this an entanglement is why has Black Jade remained employed by like or remained in the employ of Starlight even after being responsible for his husband's death?
Well, actually, I didn't when I was responsible for Crimson Moonlight's death. That was in the deep woods, and I didn't know his husband. So, but when I came out in disguise, I was trying to find human touchstones.
Okay.
And so I sought out what used to be Crimson Moonlight's household. As this is where these are the people who loved him. Maybe I will understand what happened. So that was a deliberate choice on Black Jade's part.
Yeah.
And she found out that the Jade Starlight was a good master, and he understood his love, and so she has become devoted to him in a servant fashion. But yeah, she deliberately and of course when Crimson Moonlight comes back, it's shocking to her, I think. Right? I mean, because she knows that he died because she was there.
Yeah. And I think this is
wonderful.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
this is something we'll definitely see in an upcoming episode of the show. But since I kind of fallen in love with you, I picture that maybe I've been in disguise, being near the household, checking out everything, and then I noticed this beautiful servant.
We may have met in the marketplace. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I was, you know, fetching something, and it's like, oh, you know, let me help you with that. Oh, you're so kind. You're so kind. I feel like we've known each other for, you know, I know we just met, but it feels like we've known each other for longer than that.
I love the idea that these two people that love each other have fallen in love again while both in disguise.
And so for that fiction, so Silver Willow is actually going to be then Jade Starlight's bodyguard, because it makes sense that if you're in disguise, you probably don't have a bodyguard following you around.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or do you want?
No, go with that. That's perfect.
I mean, probably they know you well, you know, if you were to reveal yourself, of course.
Yep.
I mean, I'll make it the person who used to be your bodyguard, who now is bodyguarding your husband. Does that make sense? Somebody come up with a better idea?
No, it's perfect.
Sure.
I'll say your ex-bodyguard.
Cool. Yeah, in that case, I think that wraps us up there. And my connection has been a little bit spotty this afternoon. So I think that I think that with all that wrapped up, I think it'd be best to like maybe call this session a little bit early. And hopefully my connection will be better next week. But thanks everyone for showing up. I had a lot of fun kind of going through characters, getting them to these complicated situations with each other. I mean, Hearts of Wulin really is one of those games where the character creation often ends up being very dramatic and entertaining. Just how much of an entangled mess can we make our characters' lives? We'll be doing a quick round of stars and wishes off camera. But until then, I'll be seeing y'all.